If I just want to protect my wealth or a portion of my wealth, and I invest in gold, it has demonstrated over time that it will keep pace at least with inflation.
And so to me, gold is a way of saying, you know what, I refuse. I just don't want to play that game. I'm going to play a different game. I'm going to put my wealth into something that time, several thousand years, has said, this is a way of just, it's literally just me taking my chips off the table and going to get a drink, right? That's how I see it. How do you see it?
As you're talking there, there's an image that popped into my mind to kind of encapsulate that, and it's like when you walk through the airport and there's a travelator, and you hop onto the travelator, but you realize you're actually facing the wrong way. You have to keep moving forward to even stand still, and you have to take greater risk by running to get to where it is that you want to go, and in essence, gold, and to carry on the metaphor, gold is probably like hitting the stop button on that travelator. It has historically been shown to keep pace with and outpace inflation. So yes, it does exactly that thing. So if you had invested in gold in 2000, for example, you would have on average got about an 8% return over the intervening years. Now that allows you, and you'll always get people going, yeah, but if you'd invested in Bitcoin, you'd be up here, and if you invested in this, you'd be okay. That's grand. But if I don't want to get involved in the markets to that degree and be trading in and out of markets and being lucky enough to get on every opportunity that there is, if I just want to protect my wealth or a portion of my wealth, and I invest in gold, it has demonstrated over time that it will keep pace at least with inflation. So you're at least not standing on a travelator going backwards.
This is a little bit of a wonky concept for me, but it has a little bit of a get-rich-quick scheme baked in for me, which is that I think gold has something that's unappreciated. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. To me, it has, I think, an unappreciated embedded call option in it, which is that should the world's currency system get into some sort of crisis in the future, it could get remonetized, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's a non-zero chance. I think because it's non-zero, it has an option value, and the BIS tells us it's a tier 1 asset in the banking system. We know that central banks have been accumulating. I'd like to get your views on that. But I don't think people have really appreciated what it means if we have, and to me, I'm not a futurist, I'm a trend extrapolator. We are heading towards that Ludwig von Mises moment of having, this massive, we're not going to voluntarily abandon our credit expansion. So we're going to have a catastrophe of the currency system involved, right? Sure. I believe in that view still. So if we do have that catastrophe of the currency system, the question is, well, what replaces it? Yeah, the World Bank has some special drawing rights that they've concocted, but nobody really believes in them. And some people think it might be a digital asset or a central bank digital currency. I think it could be gold, and I don't think that's appreciated yet.
Yeah. I suppose just to unpack some of the things in there. You talked about the call option. I agree with that. I don't necessarily see it as a get rich quick, as in that's what I'm betting on and hoping for. I know you said there's a non-zero chance of that. I agree with that. I'd be interested to know what the number is if it's not zero that you think that might be. Mine might be slightly higher, and I extrapolate in the data, and we both extrapolate, which might end up at different places. I mean, what we've seen is all fiat currencies effectively go to zero, other than the set that we have at this moment in time. But all of the ones that preceded this go to zero, and they don't last forever. The only thing that has been a true money for the last 5,000 years has been precious metals. And the reality is, when you have on one hand something that can only be increased, my phrase is always, be increased at the rate that you can find it, mine it, and refine it. Which tends to be at about 4% per year. And you value that in terms of something over here that can be unlimited printing at any stage and any need, you think, okay, well, ultimately, if you have this thing that can be unlimitedly printed, the value of this thing that cannot, that is bound and by nature, the value of that will go up. When you then see, right, well, what causes more and more and more and more printing, and we've seen so much of that over the last number of years. You can see that in the growth in the national debt. You can see the trajectory that is going to. And if you extrapolate based on what we've seen over the last 10, 15, 20 years, that's only going one direction. There is no appetite whatsoever to address any of the issues that could give them a chance of not growing that. There's no appetite for the discipline required. There is no appetite for the consequences of doing it, because it wouldn't be an easy transition either. So yes, I do think that there is definitely a non-zero chance of this happening. So it is a call option. But at the same time, we see it as the financial insurance in the portfolio. In a similar way to house insurance, and you buy house insurance in case something happens to your house. You don't buy house insurance because you want something to happen to your house to get a big payoff. So we see it as that, very much as that element of financial insurance. There is from time to time some very strong rallies, some very strong bull markets in gold. So there is the opportunity to make money and take some money off the table. And maybe you allocate 5, 10, 15% of your portfolio to that. And you can rebalance that over time if you so wish. But the most important thing there is the idea of extrapolating from where we are now and trying to understand what the potential consequences of that is. And it becomes very simple. It's, sometimes when we talk about national debt and we talk about the interest payment on the national debt, they seem kind of ethereal or abstract economic concepts. So if we bring it back to a kind of a personal experience and you say, right, well, I have an individual taking out more and more and more and more and more debt. Let's say a credit card, and the limit on your credit card keeps on going up and going up and going up and going up. Doesn't happen in isolation because the interest payment on that credit card is going up and up and up and up. And if you could see that over time and you map that against your income, right, you can extrapolate out that if you keep on going at the same rate, there will be a point in the future where your interest payment will be much greater than your income. Now, that can't happen in personal circumstances because your credit card company is not going to keep on increasing your personal debt ceiling. But when it comes to countries and economies, as we know, their debt ceilings can go up and up and up and up and up. And now we're just looking at that. And that thing becomes inevitable. It is inevitable. If you keep on going in that trajectory, at a certain point, the laws of physics, the laws of maths, whatever, kick in.
Yep.
And then we have a problem.